the actual, like, arrival of the police.
You know, I have to say, like, I understand why they thought it was him. He was standing above her body, holding her wrist. I would have thought it was him, too.
Yeah, like, they have a lot of good reasons to suspect him.
She didn't describe the person that she saw. She said, there's someone in my house with no description. They get there, Dean's kicked in the front door, like, his shoe print is gonna be on the door. His fingerprints are all over the crime scene. He's standing over a dead woman.
her blood on his hands.
Yeah,
it's a valid assumption, I have to say.
I mean, not as much blood as there should be. I watch cop shows, but yeah, there's blood there.
And then Detective Diana goes to talk to her partner, who is only getting witty remarks from Dean, and then Detective Diana is like, every detail of Sam's story matches Dean's perfectly. And I'm like, did they discuss this? Like, do they have like a backup plan on the road? Like, when they're like, okay, we're gonna pick this case, if we get arrested and someone asks who we are, this is what we're gonna say? Or is it this like a general story?
No, I think it's just like brother telepathy.
Yeah, like, it's like a game of like the freaking like newlyweds game over here, and they're just like, what would Dean say? Detective Diana is concerned that if Sam doesn't flip on Dean, their evidence is mostly circumstantial. But her partner is like, Dean was at the crime scene with the body, and juries have convicted for less. And like, I'm with Detective Pete on this one. Dean's in big trouble. Yeah. This does not look good. As far as circumstantial evidence goes, I don't think you could get much better. Like, what else? I mean, like, his DNA is present. Unless you have a video of someone else murdering Karen, I don't see how Dean was getting off.
Really? It's like, our evidence is pretty circumstantial, but the circumstances were pretty damning.
Yeah. All evidence is really circumstantial if you think about it. Detective Diana says there's no motive and no murder weapon, but Detective Pete is like, they're gonna crack. Also, like, even if he doesn't, Dean's already accused of being a serial killer in another state. Like, we don't really need to work that hard.
Literally.
Which is honestly fair.
He's like...
Yeah, because even if they don't convict him of this crime, like, he's got 3 murders in St. Louis to answer for.
And he can't get out of those. They found him at the crime scene killing the person there.
Yeah, literally. Like, they did catch him in the act of a crime. Like,
so either way.
Detective Diana tells us that Detective Pete and Tony Giles were friends, but she points out that Tony was a defense lawyer and he knew a lot of criminals. Also, Detective Diana and Detective Pete are in a relationship, and I don't like that.
Me either.
Ew.
I have a lot of thoughts about workplace relationships, and I think cops are particularly not great.
Yeah, they only work well on TV.
Doesn't seem like a good idea.
Yeah. It just feels really like unsafe for the other people on your team if they don't know if you're, like, you know, gonna make a decision based on like your own like emotional feelings about people.
Yeah, like, it makes for really good like drama in fiction, but maybe don't do it in real life. Any cops who listen to this,
it just seems like a bad idea.
Don't date your coworker.
In almost any job, but specifically.
Yeah, specifically this, because like it's a pretty like high risk profession in terms of like dangerous situations you could find yourself in, but also just like any job, because if you break up, then everybody you work with is uncomfortable. Like, it's just not it's uncomfy.
You can do it at McDonald's because everyone who works there is already pretty uncomfortable with the situation.
That's true. Dean and Sam are both trying to work out what the heck data shelves means, and they both reach the conclusion it's an anagram. I'm historically bad at anagrams, but we're also recording this in March of 2022, and Wordle is very popular right now, and I feel like playing that every day has helped me a lot. I also play Supernatural, the Supernatural Wordle, and I post most of my scores for that daily on Twitter at SPN Opinions Pod, so if you want to see if you can beat me, you probably can. I usually post that.
We used to do like a word letter scramble in my English class in grade 9, and I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I usually won.
You would be good at this then, this anagram situation.
I got granola bars every day. It was great.
Oh yeah, I remember you did always have granola bars from that. Sam and Dean are both really good at anagrams, but while Dean's working on his without a pen and paper, his defense lawyer, Jeff Krause, arrives. And I'm a big fan of Jeff, honestly. I think Jeff seems like a chill dude. Dean doesn't care about anything regarding his case or a trial. He just wants a pen and paper for his anagram puzzle.
I love that he was working it out in his head. Like, that is awesome.
Yeah, he is so smart.
That scene is also great because, like, he's just trying to do his job. And he's like, no, bro.
I don't care.
I'm also trying to do my job. Give me a pen and paper.
He's like, yeah, I figured out that the charges were serious when they said murder and they handcuffed me to a table.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a genius to figure out that I'm in trouble.
But also, I am a genius, so.
And, like, he's still super chill. Jeff Krause is like, dude, Maryland's a death penalty state. You could get the death penalty. It's worth noting that in 2013, Maryland became the 18th state to abolish the death penalty. They are no longer a death penalty state, but this was 2006, so they were. Dean writes a note to Sam and asks the lawyer to take the note for him, because obviously you can't see Sam. Detective Diana is working on her computer on her report of, like, the arrest and everything when it starts to say that Dana Shalps over and over before it just, like, returns to normal. Dean's note to Sam reads, Hiltz, it's a street, underlined twice in case Sam can't read. Ashland, signed McQueen. I'll touch on this reference later. I don't have time for it right now. We'll get back to it.
Fair.
Jeff tries to help Sam because Dean seems, like, uninterested, not going to jail or being executed, and Sam calls Jeff Matlock, which Dean had just done. I'm gonna need Catherine to chill with the references because they're all good, but like literally I was just like side-gooing left and right to make sure that like when I see a reference, the thing I know about the reference is actually like a thing and not something I made up in my brain.
I recognize Matlock, at least.
Matlock is a 1980s TV series about a defense attorney.
And McQueen, because they explain that one.
Yes, they do explain the McQueen one.
And I've seen that movie.
Detective Diana knocks on the door before Jeff can give Sam any good legal advice because Dean has announced that he'd like to confess and he needs legal representation for that, which is good. It's good that they're like, oh, you want to confess? Hang on, let's go get your lawyer. Everybody has come to watch behind the glass. Like, it's like a two-way mirror, and like there's like 8 to 10 people like jammed in the little room on the other side. And like people spilling out into the hallways. Like, everybody wants to hear this guy talk.
They're just like, oh my gosh, the entertaining snarky man wants to confess. Let's do this, guys.
Cue the gif of Dean stating that he's an Aquarius. He likes sunsets, long walks on the beach, and frisky women.
One of my favorite Dean lines of all time.
Yeah, it's so good. And then he basically just like gives this room filled with cops the talk. He makes a Casper joke, which angers Detective Pete. And he also makes another Shining reference, just because, you know, Dean's full of them this week.
Good job, Dean.
But the reference there is actually important to the thing. It's like red rum, which is murder backwards, and like Dana Shalps is all messed up. It's an anagram, because ghosts sometimes get confused.
Which happens, you know, it's fair.
Yeah, Detective Diana is visibly spooked by the reveal of the Dana Shalps anagram, because again, she already saw that on her computer. Dean gets handcuffed again, and this is when it's revealed that Sam has broken out of a second floor window with no fire escape. As you might recall from Shadow, the boys do have phenomenal upper body strength, but considering that Sam's in a cast, this is really impressive.
I mean, I'm very happy for him.
I've never gotten over Shadow. Like, literally, just like the boys like hauling themselves up an elevator shaft 7 like stories. Like,
it's
not
good
a big
cardio,
deal.
Sammy.
And then just holding themselves there.
So, well, Sam's also like 12 feet tall, so like
true.
I guess, yeah, the second floor isn't
than it would be
a
for
big
us.
drop.
He doesn't have as far to climb. His body's already half of it.
I feel like Sam has very strong ankles. Like, he could just pull like a Ted Bundy and just like drop out of this like second floor window.
Oh goodness, yes.
Strong ankles.
I work them out every day.
I mean, that's what Ted Bundy did, and it worked for him, so...
Until it didn't.
I mean,
his ankles did not break.
temporarily, I guess.
He jumped out a second floor window, his ankles did not break. That was the goal. I'd say he did okay.
I need to research Ted Bundy. Anyway, that's off topic.
Detective Diana reads the note and explains to Pete that Hiltz is the character that Steve McQueen plays in the 1963 film The Great Escape. It got a little bit meta with this in my brain. Dean calls Sam Hiltz, who's the character, and he calls himself McQueen, who's the guy behind the character. Like, you know, he's like, you go do the thing. I'm just like the behind-the-scenes guy.
Yeah.
I don't think Dean thought it through that much, but it was weird that he didn't pick like another character from The Great Escape.
Yeah.
Like, he picked the character and the actor.
Yeah, Steve McQueen's character didn't even, like, successfully escape. He was caught at the end.
But, like, I was just like, the actor and the character, that's weird. Like, why wouldn't you do 2 characters? Or, like, 2 actors from that movie? Like,
probably the one that everyone remembers.
I guess.
It's Steve McQueen.
Yeah. Maybe it's like a code they use or something, though?
Maybe.
I don't...
It got the point across to Sam that he was supposed to escape.
Yeah.
Detective Diana then goes into the bathroom where the lights aren't working and the, like, sink starts spewing hot water, causing steam, and Dana Shalps appears on the mirror. When she, like, wipes it away, she sees the ghost behind her, throat slash, trying to speak. It's very scary still. The blood coming out of like the mouth and the throat is like a great touch.
Yes. Yes, it was very disturbing.
Detective Diana then goes back to Dean and asks about the ghost stuff, and he refers her to Time Life Mysteries of the Unknown, which is a 33-volume set of paranormal books published between 1987 and 1991. It was slightly more scientifically rooted than the previous series, Enchanted World, and it also went on to break every sales record at Time Life. It was very popular.
What was Enchanted World about?
I think it was also about like paranormal stuff, but it was more like mystical, like story based, I think. It wasn't like scientific, like study of any of that stuff.
Alright, I'm gonna add that to my reading list.
More like fictional.
Yeah, or just like
fairies.
Yeah, without any of like the scientific. It was like ghosts, but like just like ghost stuff, like with like theories and like stories rather than like paranormal like scientists and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're not even gonna pretend this is scientific.
Yeah. Detective Diana asks more about vengeful spirits, and Dean notices the bruise that she has on her arm that matches the bruise that Kara and Giles had. And Dean realizes Diana's in trouble, and he tells her that the last two people to see the ghost wound up dead, so she needs to go find Sam, and he gives up Sam's hiding space. Sam and Dean do have a contingency for when they are unwillingly separated, and that's to check in at the first motel in the Yellow Pages under the alias Jim Rockford. Jim Rockford is James Gardner's character in The Rockford Files, a 1970s series about a private investigator recently pardoned from a wrongful conviction.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that was a reference, but I should have known.
I just assumed it was like a music alias, but I like that it's not.
Yeah.
Sam is at the motel and he's really surprised when Detective Diana knocks on the door, but he examines the bruises and he's like, I don't have time for you to have a breakdown about this. No patience today, sorry. Gotta just get through this. You can have a breakdown later.
Don't know if you were there, but I got arrested. It's been a long day.
Yeah. He's still nice about it because he's Sam, but he's also just like, I don't have time to deal with you. Like, having an existential crisis, you need to stow that crap for later.
I mean, fair.
Sam has hacked into the police database to Detective Diana's horror, and she IDs the ghost as Claire Becker, who disappeared 8 or 9 months ago. Claire was arrested twice on heroin possession, and while Detective Diana doesn't recognize her, Diana and her partner Pete previously worked narcotics together. So there's a good possibility that their paths did cross. Sam looks it up, finds the last location that Claire was seen, and Sam explains the salting and burning thing. They're like, we gotta find her body so we can put her to rest. They're in some kind of basement with shelving everywhere. I wish we knew what this building was supposed to be.
It doesn't tell us.
It doesn't. They just show up.
I want that many shelves. That would be
They're just
awesome.
there.
They don't look like they're being
I
used.
don't know how they found the building.
It's just like the last place that she was, and then they just like go in, and we don't find out what the building was, if they were able to go in there easily or not. They're just there. But they split up, and Detective Diana turns around, and Claire is just there. Sam runs down, but Claire is gone, and Diana like walks to where Claire was, and Sam pulls the shelf away from a window with one hand because he's strong.
Yep.
And there's lettering on the window that says Ashland something. I like paused. It's like backwards and not on the window anymore. It's like all scratched off. It was hard. I was really wanted to see what the full word was.
Maybe it was super.
Maybe.
I thought it was supposed to say supplies, but
it could say supplies. It could say supermarket.
Where I saw that. Yeah.
Maybe it was supplies. That sounds right.
Yeah.
I didn't.
It on IMDb it says it was supposed to say supplies.
Interesting, because it really did look like there was an M in there.
Okay.
Which there wouldn't be in supplies, but okay, whatever. It's not important. Sam looks to where the letters create a shadow on the wall, and this will be a like fun little fact for Meredith. Specifically, I wrote this note for you. This episode takes place in Baltimore, Maryland, which is the city that Edgar Allan Poe died in.
Oh, nice. I mean, sucks for him. Everything sucked for him, but cool.
He obviously wrote all kinds of stories, including the Casca Amontillado? Amontillado. I was like, I knew I was pronouncing too many L's. Where a man is buried alive in a wall, and obviously like the Telltale Heart, where the narrators killed a man and buried him beneath his floorboards, but the guilt drives him to madness. Edgar Allan Poe, things behind people buried behind walls. It's a fun reference.
Oh, it's a very fun reference.
Also maybe like a fun reference to Buffy again, because in the Buffy spinoff Angel, Cordelia, her apartment is haunted because her apartment is double haunted. First by a man whose mother buried him in a wall, so he wouldn't marry someone she disapproved of, and then by the mother.
Oh,
and so they they banish the mother's spirit from the house, and she just like hangs out with the Phantom of the Son. His name's Phantom Dennis, and he's a great roommate.
I love that.
You know, there's actually another
full of references.
Yes.
There's actually another Edgar Allan Poe story where someone's buried behind a wall. It's the Black Cat.
Wow.
Right. I forgot about that. You know way more Edgar Allan Poe than I do.
I don't even know that much. much.
Sam uses the EMF meter and it goes nuts, so he smashes through the wall, uncovering Claire Becker's body. Sam is unbothered by digging up, of course, but he is confused as to why Claire led them to her remains, because that's not what ghosts usually do. Claire is tied up, matching the bruises on Detective Diana's wrists, and Detective Di notices that Claire has a necklace on, and she tells Sam it's a rare custom made from a shop on Carson Street, and that she has an identical one gifted to her by Pete. A light bulb goes off for Sam. Claire isn't a vengeful spirit, she's a death omen. Pete is a killer, and Claire is appearing to people that Pete is going to come after, trying to warn them, because she wants justice.
She deserves it.
She really does, honestly. Claire was, like, victimized by Pete so badly. Detective Diana says, about a year ago, some heroin